Hey everyone, welcome back. This week I'm actually picking up on last week's topic where I shared some details about a dream that I had along the lines of breaking away from the herd. And at the end of that video, it'll be linked at the end of this one, but I had started to mention about a dream that I had along the lines of private equity. And I only touched on that very lightly in that last video because it was getting a little bit longer. And what I wanted to do today is just do a deeper dive on that second dream that was about private equity. So what I'm going to do is share the details of the dream, give some insights on what I think that dream means for, how I'm reflecting on it and what it might mean for you too. That's the purpose of this, is to try to share what's happening in my world. And if it's beneficial to you to take this knowledge and act on it, that is my hope and desire, is that this will bless you and encourage you to take those steps to take control of your finances. So let me just start with this. So why do I think that it's important to take control of your finances? It's not just about living frugally and being able to be really good at pinching pennies and living frugally as a lifestyle. I am a much bigger believer that yes, you do have to live frugally in seasons, especially if you're strategically repositioning yourself, as my husband and I were. We strategically changed our employment. I went out of corporate America into full-time financial coaching. So we shifted some things around with our finances. So why am I even talking about this? It really comes down to, what's your end goal? What are you doing with your life? And I really believe that we are called to do so much more than just pay the bills, struggle and survive from paycheck to paycheck. Life is more fulfilling and more impactful when we can create the margin in our finances to make a difference. And that could be just in your family. It could be beyond that, to your communities. And so what I'm going to be sharing today about my dream, I do think aligns with a wake-up call. Like, hey, let's stop doing things the same old way every single day, grinding it out, piecemealing our paychecks out, and saying we're tired and broke at the end of every single month. So this is kind of a rally cry to say, do something different. So I'm going to drop in some pictures as we go too. I'm doing the best I can at finding pictures that I remember kind of observing in my dream. They're not going to be exact, but they're going to give you the feel of what I was witnessing in my dream. So this dream in particular, it seemed like it took place in a downtown setting, like a city setting. And I remember the dream started kind of with like this high-rise building. I remember looking up and seeing this, nicely freshly painted building. It had like purple and black and yellow. But what was interesting is it didn't have any windows. And at the top of it, I remember seeing the word private equity, and I didn't know what it meant. I can only assume, which I'll share after this, what I think it might be pointing to. And I believe that God gives us dreams to give us messages. And if we're willing to be open to that and listen and think and reflect and ask for that wisdom, we will get instruction through our dreams. So I do believe some of the dreams that I've been having are really divine instruction. So I'm sharing that with you too, because if you're on the same page with me that we are called to do more, then let's pay attention to what's happening while we're awake and asleep. So back to the dream is that as I was scanning down the building, it kind of had this feeling of like saloon or like gold trader type font, almost like it was there to attract like the gold trader companies. Like it was meant to be, I don't know, like attention grabbing. And I remember looking down to the ground level and there was a window there, a single window. I couldn't tell where you would enter or exit the building. And the window had bars on it, kind of like an old bank teller window. That's the best I can describe it. So then I realized there was a long line waiting. It felt like a line in the community, like it was a community resource. And it felt like the whole community was there collectively to participate in whatever was happening at this building. And the best I can make of it was that it felt like it was like a recession kind of line where everybody had to wait in line and they had checks that they were cashing, like one after another. It wasn't like a special request. It was almost like, hey, here's a spot that opened up in the community for people to cash their checks. it felt like a stimulus check kind of thing. Like everybody was getting these checks and everybody was cashing them in. The sense that I got was that maybe there was a fee involved with cashing these checks in this way, like almost like a payday loan where you're paying a hefty fee, but there's the convenience of instant cash. And then at that time, my husband and I were in a line right nearby, but it was a separate line. I don't know why it was separate, but we were in a separate line, and there was a different counter that we were waiting in line for. And we also had checks, and they were like bigger checks where it's not like just a regular personal checkbook check. It felt like a government issued or like an institution that issued it, a formal check. So we also had checks, but whatever I can make of it is that we were not going to cash them out. It was like we were going to deposit them. And there might have been a benefit to depositing versus cashing out, and I couldn't figure what that is. But it was very clear. I remember just having that feeling of like it was a message about private equity. And when I recorded the dream in my journal, I have my journal right here too. I'm still not 100% clear on what it means, but what I think it means is, as I shared in my last video, that we are not meant to just be in the herd. Like if you're hanging with the herd and going where the masses are going, you're probably going to find yourself, getting stuck in what the masses are doing. Right now, the masses are in massive debt. As a country, as in the world, we are just drowning in debt. And what it's doing is it's locking us up from being able to make moves and be agile and take advantage of opportunities and make an impact. Because when you're stuck paying for your yesterday over and over, and the high interest rates are making it so hard to get ahead, our point of view is so narrow, because it's like we can only focus on what's in front of us and what we can do to kind of keep ourselves pacing with the hamster wheel. Okay, quick timeout. What is this hamster wheel that I'm talking about? It's this right here. So let's just start at the top. It all begins with good intentions. You settle for a job that's comfortable. You then realize you don't really like your job that much, and you try to fill your void by financing material things. I can tell you myself, been there, done that. Then the material thing takes away from your paycheck. Now you're officially working paycheck to paycheck because you piecemealed your paycheck out. Then you start to complain about not having any money, and you hang out with people that agree with you. So then you proceed to work in the place you hate, and you're now convinced this is just how life is. And this is the hamster wheel that you need to get off of. Whereas if you're intentional about strategically positioning yourself financially, it means you have to have some delayed gratification and discipline built into your lifestyle now. You're actively and intentionally getting yourself out of that consumer debt, that credit card debt. You're creating margin to save. You're creating margin to invest, to grow your money. It's like the parable of the talents in the Bible. They multiplied what they were given to take care of for their master. And even in the Bible, it says the borrower is slave to the lender. So you're at the whim of those who have money when you do not have money. And this is really just that rally cry of, what can you do differently to take control of your finances? And it's creating a budget. It's coming up with a long-term vision, talking about those things that matter most. What are you living for? There's obviously short-term needs of taking care of our family, and we have kids probably that are going to college, and things that you are taking care of in your circle of influence. But beyond that, you were purposed on this earth to make a difference in your community and beyond. And whether we like it or not, money creates opportunities for impact. And if we don't have any, we can't make any impact. It's not all about money, because you can obviously impact people with your time. But specifically, I think this dream was pointing to the fact that people who are going to be in a powerful position, a position of influence, are those who are building up their own private equity. The people who are positioning themselves to act, to be agile, creating a banking system where you're not just a slave to the really cumbersome products that banks offer. There's ways that you can set up strategically to access your money faster, access your money now, not take all these penalties. There's ways to pay your debt off faster. These are all the things I'm passionate about talking about. But when it comes to that, I want to really actually inspire you to get motivated to do something different so you can get different results, because I know the grind is so tiring. It's exhausting, and sometimes it's easy to believe that there's nothing beyond what you're feeling and experiencing right now. But I'm here to tell you that there is, and all it takes is that one next intentional step. So if it's creating a budget, if it's looking at your last 3 months of spending and saying, what are the categories? Is it my 4 walls? Is it my home, my utilities, my recurring bills that have to be paid? Or is there a lot of excess of things that are extravagant right now that are actually keeping me from positioning myself to live that life that's more fulfilling and more intentional? You have to start with where you're at, and that usually means taking a look at what you've done recently and starting to make a plan going forward. Don't worry if what you've been spending your money on isn't what brings you joy, but you're coming up with a plan to change it, to get out of that debt, to spend a little less right now so you can get rid of that debt and repurpose that debt for what matters most. Okay? So I still don't have all the answers. I'm sharing these dreams just because I feel like they might mean something to you out there also. And I realize after watching that last video, you'll see somebody else had a dream similar to me, and I realized I wasn't alone. So this might be a message for you who's watching. This might be a message for more than just me. So that's why I'm sharing it. And if you have insight, I very much welcome that. You can put that in the comments. But for now, I'm just sharing it. And I'm going to continue to come back here and give practical tips on how to take control of your finances and what some of these strategic moves are that my husband and I are doing right now. I told you we paid our house off faster. We're learning about new methods and strategies to put our money in places where it will be agile. And that's important, that you can act when you need to act. Okay? So thank you for being with me again this week, getting a little outside the box, talking about dreams, but I think it's important, and I appreciate you all for being on this journey with me. Let me know how I can help you. You can always subscribe to this channel to get this content regularly pushed to your phone. I look forward to hearing from you, and I hope you have a great week ahead. Thanks for joining me. It is not always easy, but it's always worth it. Get out there and do something different. Love you guys.